Hey, folks, welcome back to the podcast, Funniest People You've Never Heard of. I'm Peter. This is Todd.
Hey, everyone.
There it is, your catchphrase.
Patent
folks,
pending.
We have a fantastic guest today. A friend of mine, the fantastic, the very expressive, the wonderful Jose Maestas. I love him. He's great.
So good.
Lots of great energy on this podcast, so I'm happy you're here to listen to it. Also, podcast news, we're doing a live show, and we did a live show at Flappers. Show sold out. We had a great turnout, and Todd even got on stage, and your dad got on stage too.
Yeah, it was a little scary. It was scary when I went on stage. I've never done comedy before, but I did a couple minutes and introed the night, and it was fun. So, and thank you everyone who came out.
All right, shut up. I only have 3 minutes. My wife is here, so let's give her advice was don't get canceled, so that's why I only have 3 minutes. Can't do too much damage there. My parents are here. They raised me to be funny, but didn't screw me up enough to be an actual stand-up comic. So that's like a good middle ground. So thank you.
We definitely want to do more, so watch this space and come out to our next show if you're in LA. And one of your buddies, Shane Hartline, right?
Yes.
Pulled my dad on stage. Let's cut to the clip. And we're back.
Wow.
In the time that clip was playing, I called my therapist and set up an appointment. So I don't know if it's for me or for my dad, but we had a good time.
We had a blast. That was fun. So yeah, look forward to more live shows where we get to feature more comedians and more of the funniest people you've never heard of. So keep an eye out for that. But as far as today, holy cow, Jose, great performer. He's got to be on one of our live shows coming up.
Yeah, I would love that.
He's a great impressionist. Do you ever do any impressions, Todd?
No, impressions have never really been my go-to comedy. But similar to Jose, I grew up loving Ace Ventura and Jim Carrey. So I was doing that impression through junior high and not meeting women because I was talking out of my butt and saying alrighty then. But how about you? Do you do impressions?
You know what? No, I rarely even like change the tone of my voice when I'm performing, which you'd think is boring, and maybe I am. Oh God.
Oh my God.
Not
He
again.
does an impression
I'm
of
spiraling.
a guy who thinks he's funny.
Well, if you want to be funny at your next party, you'll pick up a bottle of tequila espacial. I'm finally saying it right. This will make you funny, or at least you'll think you're funny. Todd, where can our listeners and viewers get more tequila espacial?
For a bottle of tequila espacial, go to www.tequilaespacial.com.
Yeah, and for more Jose Maestas, stay tuned right here.
We should just talk in Shrek quotes.
We could.
The entire time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. Oh, he's right behind me, isn't he? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Funniest People You've Never Heard of. Todd is in the outfield, and our guest today, the very funny, the very energetic, the extremely impressive and expressive Jose Maestas. Jose, how are you?
Tone it down is what you're telling me. I get it.
No, I love it, man. That's what makes you you. Yeah.
Speaking of that, I did an audition recently, okay?
Oh, please.
And Jim Carrey's like my God, like my
course.
North Star, right? And so most of them, they're like, all right, tone it down, sort of stuff. And that's fine, right? But in the description for the character, it was like big, over the top, all these different expressions. I'm like, oh, boom, perfect, gonna nail it. I had already rehearsed how I was gonna do it. And they give you like a little breakdown in the waiting room, right? For like everybody, right? First thing out of the casting director's mouth, he's like, okay, guys, don't think Ace Ventura. I left immediately.
Because everybody goes in there trying to do Ace Ventura.
I guess, apparently.
Well, yeah,
swing and a miss.
From a very early age, you were influenced by all the films of Jim Carrey and those big '90s hits and big films like that. Out here in Los Angeles, you're a stand-up and you do those you do big characters in like the real world. Like you'll for the holidays you'll dress up as the Grinch.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Hello, little children.
Gaze into the face of fear. Listen, if you're going to take a picture, I got 3 poses. Ready? Ooh. Ah. That's it. I'm not posing. Hey. Hey. We have a synchronized dance. Look. Gonna back it up. I gotta back it up.
Where do you access that type of energy? Where does that come from? Or is that your like general thing?
That's why you don't see me hanging out afterwards. It takes all of me, and I'm just like, you know what? I gotta go home. I got nothing left.
Yeah, you empty the tank on stage.
Plus, I don't feel funny as me. Like,
Yeah.
I would rather do these characters. That's more enjoyable.
You feel more comfortable in a character.
Oh, way more comfortable. That's just so much more fun to me. I feel like a little kid doing it.
Oh.
When I'm as myself, I'm like, this isn't funny. I don't want to talk. Let me do this other voice.
Yeah, let me be in somebody else's like skin or clothes or something like that.
That's more fun to me.
Well, I want to start here because you were just talking about an audition that you did, and I assume you got it when they were not looking for Ace Ventura, but you're like, sorry, and you like change your hair, the Ace Ventura hair.
Oh no, I definitely didn't get it.
But this is where I want to start. We met in this room about 2 years ago.
That's right, right.
And you're a stand-up, and you're very funny, and you're great, and you possess this incredible energy that is, impossible to replicate. Yeah, exactly. It's just great to you. And for all reasoning, I don't think you and I should like each other, but we are friends. Because, and I'll just explain why. I'm
out of here.
Yeah, no. Say no. Because you go into an audition room. You were just talking about one of the auditions you just had. You go into an audition room. You kind of see a lot of people that, kind of either match your energy, match your skin tone, kind of look similar to you. And I'm like, oh man. When I look in the mirror, I'm like, I look like you. That's clearly not the case. but I'm like, oh man, for some reason I'm trained to believe that there should be only room for one of us in the casting world. But you are so good at what you do, and I can't do that, and nobody could. And I'm like, oh man, I really hope this guy becomes my friend because I can't replicate or compare myself to what he does.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean,
thank you, man.
This podcast is just Peter jerking you off for 30 minutes.
Where do you
That's what I signed up for. So
you host shows at the Improv, you work at the Improv, people can see you at the Improv a lot, and like obviously other clubs. What do you observe competition in those rooms, either from yourself or from others, or other people kind of like vying for spots? Because at the end of the day, there's only one comedian up on stage at a time. What's your observation of that?
Well, let me react to what you first said.
Sure.
Thank you, by the way. I'll get you afterwards.
Sure.
It's kind of the example like why men we start going to the gym because we think we're gonna get a woman's attention, like all the women are gonna flock. That doesn't happen. It's just love from the bros. It's like, bro, how much do you bench? No woman has ever asked that question. They don't care how much.
Yeah,
not
man,
at all.
It'd be a perfect utopia if women at the gym asked us how much we bench.
Oh, if they cared just a little bit, it would blow our minds. But they don't. I'm at the gym every day, and I don't know why. Why am I doing this? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but Peter cares, so I'm gonna keep doing it.
So yeah, you definitely get the attention of other comedians and other gym bros as well. But in LA as it stands now in the comedy scene, have you been able to observe competition, and like how does that make its way out, and what does that look like?
What's interesting is that there is that sort of sense of competition. I've heard a lot of comics kind of through the grapevine saying like, oh, this person kind of stomped on my toes a little bit or took this spot that should have been mine, all these sort of conversations. I don't see it that way. I feel like there's so many avenues to take, and just because someone gets a spot, it doesn't mean really anything about me. So I feel like we're all just doing our own thing, our own journey. You just keep hanging around. Like my buddy always says, you keep hanging around the barbershop, you're gonna get your hair cut.
Yeah, okay.
So I love that quote. You just keep doing it. You just keep showing up.
Someone said that to me as a threat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
You keep hanging around here. Also, everyone at home, drink every time I touch my hair. Every time I touch my hair, take a sip of tequila espacial. Okay, so then
I have a question,
go ahead, Todd,
actually.
from the outfield. Yeah.
So we heard Peter's first impression of you. When you first met Peter, were you like, oh, there's another one just like me? Or were you like, oh, we're a before and after commercial for meth?
Another one? No.
Yeah, exactly.
No, what I was impressed by, because we improv'd a lot in that scene.
That's right. Yeah, it was this web series called Jennifer and Chicken.
Right.
Yeah, and it was about 2.5 years ago.
And it was so funny,
Yeah.
scripted, but then they allowed us to play a lot, and you were just so comfortable in that character.
In that scene, you're flirting with my in the film my girlfriend's mom, I think, or grandmother
grandma,
or something.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's very fun. It's very fun.
Thank you for filling in the last minute, man.
Thanks for having me on the pod.
It's a big platform for you, no? We got 1.2 million followers. You ever had a platform like that?
I did a show a couple weeks ago. It was like 30, 40 people, but in person, you know.
Now, I got to acknowledge the ladies over here in the corner. Hey, ladies, you bring your wine. Get her a headset right there. Pop in here. For the listeners out there, if you can't see her, you're missing out. Now, we had a whole show on MILFs. You remember that episode.
Nice.
But I don't think we've ever had a GILF on the show before. June, you're my number one. First and only, baby girl. Now, let me get your opinion on this. Yo, put up a poll right now. Am I in love with June? Spoiler alert, I am. What are you doing for the next 2 weeks?
What are you doing?
She's going home.
Hopefully you.
I don't think she can.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my
baby.
God. I feel like you could teach me a thing or two, June.
You know what? I learned a lot. I could teach.
It was hot, let me tell you.
So then for you, you know, I know some of your comedy influences come from, you know, big characters, but also, you know, people that, you know, have gone to the improv and performed a lot at the improv.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what led you there. You know, you grew up in Las Vegas, New Mexico, is that right?
That's right.
And so people hear Vegas, obviously, they think of Nevada, and they're like, did you get lost somewhere in that sentence? No. Is there comedy in Las Vegas, New Mexico, and how do you find comedy at a young age and then become, you know, the Jim Carrey fan and then open up your world for stand-up and all that?
Simple answer, no. There's not. I mean, you can go out in the real world and see some interesting things, but it ain't traditional comedy.
I see.
How I fell in love with it, I remember at a young, so my brother and sister are much older than me. And so they would stay up late and watch Saturday Night Live. Or my brother would bring in, I think I've told this before somewhere, but my first like memory online as a human being, my brother brought home Ace Ventura, the VHS from Blockbuster.
Yeah.
You can remember the big chunk blue like brick, right?
Yeah.
And he throws it in and then gathers all around our whole family and he says, shut up, you got to watch this. And from the opening scene, that kind of montage where he's walking through like as a delivery guy, and he's just tearing this box up. He doesn't even say anything really through the first scene.
Right.
And he's tearing this box up, and I've never seen a human being move like this, have control over his body and his face. And I had no idea what he was doing. I was only like 4 years old.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I like this.
This is great.
Yeah. And so we'd stay up watching Saturday Night Live and all of these things. And I don't know, I saw the way it affected like my family. Like we'd sit down and watch or listen to George Lopez tapes. And that finally got my parents involved with it because they could understand and relate to that a little bit more culturally. And I saw how it was affecting our whole family, and everyone's laughing. It's a communal thing. It brought us together. I'm like, this is the coolest thing in the world.
What inspires your writing? Because when people see you on stage, they see you do impressions, they see you very animated, and you're entertaining.
I don't know. It's weird. Some bits are based on like seeing someone's behavior, or obviously seeing like a character I like, or a comedian I like, and say they're kind of like in my range somewhere. Like because I do Sebastian Maniscalco, I'm like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah, this is Arrakis. Get the shit out of my nose. Entire planet covered in spices, and nobody's using oregano. I got so much sand lodged in my ass. You could build a sand castle in my esophagus. Okay. You see these spice collecting people? There's this guy that keeps saying Lisanne El Gabe. He thinks Willy Wonka is Jesus? Are you kidding me? They got these sandworms. They look like penises. They'll bite you like you were a chicken nugget. I ain't going out there. This place sucks. Get the fuck out of here.
A lot of them are the ones that I like grew up with because I still do Jim in multiple versions.
Different versions of Jim Carrey. Nice.
Just as the mayonnaise white guy, saying that you do Jim Carrey, but you have a very distinct look. You work out. Like, how much do you have to take into account what you actually look like for your character to be believable?
It comes into a lot, actually. Unfortunately, I feel like I don't look like anyone. I don't know who I look like, really.
Yeah, or you could pass as, yeah.
Right, and so I'm kind of like doing my own thing in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why you talked about being like in competition for several things. I admire your look because with your hair, you can kind of change it up, and you can play the younger guy, the soccer guy. You can play the dad.
Yeah,
The
I had a
meth
really
head.
bad, meth head. Yeah. The guy
There you
who
go.
just scraped off the side of the road. You know what I do?
The guy they found in the lake.
Yeah. You know what's something that I need to stop doing is like wherever I go on Saturday, I park my car there and I leave it until Sunday. And I'm just like, because there's no parking meters on Sunday. And so then, I'll take an Uber home or whatever from whatever I was doing. And my goal on Sunday is to just find my car. It's like, where did I park this? And yeah, I need to find it. So anyhow, other than also, if we're talking about material, that's
This turned
incredible.
into an intervention.
That's incredibly unhealthy of me. And also, I came up with this bit that I haven't figured out, but but like at this stage, my unhealthy habits are so unhealthy that I gagged when I brushed my teeth.
Oh no!
I was like, oh God, my body's rejecting me brushing my own teeth.
this other person, how does that make you feel?
Exactly.
The real you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you recognize yourself when you look in the mirror?
Who is he, man? Who is he?
That sounds
Some
like a
days,
Bond
no.
villain. I don't know where that
He
voice
does.
is.
Yeah.
Alcoholism again, Mr. Bond.
Yeah,
huh?
it's something, man.
That's Hannibal Lecter if he was his own therapist.
It did sound like Hannibal a little bit.
He's got to do something in that cell before Clarice showed up.
Obviously, there's the celebrity ones. So when you come up with these characters, what are your non-celebrity characters? Like, kind of how do you come up with them and develop them?
Well, if you see my dad, or if you see my set, my dad's a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of like my first go-to material because he's a big character.
To do an impression of your dad.
Yeah. And so from a very young age, that's how I'd entertain my family. He would walk in with like the dad tidy whities with like holes in them and stuff. Look like cottage cheese sort of tidy whities. And he would walk in like he kind of looks like a big Mexican Danny DeVito in a way. Hey, flaco, that sort of stuff. And my skinny, he calls me flaco, skinny in Spanish. And so I would walk in with his sort of tidy whities, but like Urkel way up to the top and huge glasses. And I would kind of do this impression of him and it would kill at Christmas time. And so I'm still doing that sort of on stage. So that's kind of how like I said, I only talk about people that I love.
I grew up on a farm in New Mexico. My family is very supportive of me pursuing comedy. They just don't know what to say. Like, for instance, my dad gives me entertainment advice as if I'm applying for a manual labor job. Every few days, my dad calls me up. He's like, hey, mijito, do you want to be on Saturday Night Live? Why don't you go down there and fill out an application, mijito? Show them you're ready to work. And I'm like, Dad, it's not Home Depot. Like, I don't think that's how that works, I had to Google shit that my friends had, like allowance. What? I never got paid. One time I asked my dad for allowance. He just looked confused. What? Mijito, I give you allowance every day. I allow you to live.
Oh man, yeah, that is so fun. That is fun. Is there one character or an impression you're working on now that you're trying to get the hang of, or something that's come into like pop culture as you see it that you're trying to really nail down?
I'd kind of have to start off fresh. So I'm looking at people like Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of these people are real subtle.
Yeah. What is it with Pedro Pascal? What is it with like what? I mean, no one's been able to nail down an impression of him. Just like he's kind of like
I don't have it yet.
Right. But like, what would it be like? Like
I mean,
I don't know.
He's suave, but not suave. He's like,
And he's a little silly and goofy when you see him on the red carpet. He's like having,
exactly. But somehow,
yeah.
somehow he's like very regal in a way while he is silly.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just the look. It's just the energy of like, you're safe with me.
He's very disarming.
Yes.
But also he's suave. You mentioned suave, so he's and silly. So he's kind of like James Bond, but with the hiccups.
That's really
You
good.
know what I mean? He's like, yeah. He'd be like, hey, how's it going? But he's trying to like, and like women love him.
There, you
women
just
love
cracked
him.
the code on that character.
That's really good.
And women love
Am
him.
I going to steal that?
Use it, please,
Yes, I
please. So then, you're animated on stage, and stand-up is one of those art forms that you kind of have to practice out in the open.
Right.
With you, giving this like big presentational energy. How do you kind of practice that after you, like you said, focus in on one, specific thing to highlight, or an energy or a movement, etc.
Schizophrenia.
Right. Sure.
I talk to myself a lot.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. I live by myself. I don't speak in my own voice like all day long.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I don't know why. That seems weirder to me than be like, oh, what are we going to do today? I don't do that. I'm just doing like quotes from movies. And if I'm working on a bit in a character's voice, I just talk about that out loud. I sing a lot.
That's funny.
And so my neighbor, he'll hit me up occasionally. Are you okay?
That's so funny because
What's happening?
Yeah, when you're at home, it's Truman Show. When you're on the stage, it's Ace Ventura. When you're in the holiday season, you're the Grinch.
It's weird.
That is so cool. Man, you're so whimsical. I didn't realize how fun and
Bro,
whimsical you
if
are.
Jim walked through that door right now, I'm done.
Bring him out.
Bawling. Bawling.
How this relates to you is you're at the Improv almost every night. You're working the door and doing cold open spots, hosting whatever. What's it like being in the presence of a lot of comedians that you kind of idolize, and how do you see people successfully and unsuccessfully chat with them, and what's your strategy, and how does that feel?
Usually it's unsuccessfully.
Oh, really?
No, like I'm so respectful, almost too respectful. I need to open
fair.
up a little bit about that. That's why I admire you so much. You're you. It's unapologetically, if that's the word.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you're just existing. So you don't mind speaking to anybody, engaging whoever it is, on stage, off stage. That's so impressive to me. And maybe that's why I hide behind the characters, because I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think
don't
you're
do that.
left brain, I'm right brain. Maybe, I don't know.
See, and the fact that
we make
know
one
that.
person. I don't know. No, that's the way you're describing it. But like, you hosted the show. Pablo Francisco was on it. What did that feel like to you? Because, when you're the host of the show, that gives you the authority to be like, hey, how's it going? I'm Jose. When do you want your light? Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Like, what was that evening like? And, how did it turn out?
It was so cool because that was my first, I've been at the Improv for a long time, many years, but that was my first time hosting the main room.
Great.
And because I have my own show that I produce that you've been on a couple times in the lab. But that was my first in the main room, and I saw he was on the lineup. He's my favorite stand-up of all time.
Wow.
Pablo Francisco.
Pablo.
Yeah.
I borrow some things from him, maybe some
Sure.
energy from him.
Oh, great.
My first ever time on stage, I just straight up stole his Little Tortilla Boy bit. I was 17 years old. Who cares? It was
Sure,
at a
you
coffee
gotta-
shop in my hometown.
Yeah, you gotta start
Sue
somewhere.
me, right?
Yeah. You gotta start somewhere.
I got paid with a blueberry muffin. It was delicious. And so I usually close my sets with the Sebastian impression, right? And after I brought the next comic on stage, Pablo popped his head and he's all, here, come here. And he pulled me into the hallway, and we just had like a 5-10 minute conversation about that impression, where you could go with it, push it here, do this physicality, and just impressions in general.
Yeah.
And I kind of had to pinch myself, like,
Cool.
This is happening?
I'm here.
This
Yeah.
is the guy. There was another one like that happened again at the Improv at Applause Break, my show. The box office had hit me up maybe like 5 minutes before the show. They said, hey, Sandler's dropping in. And just to let you know he's going to do your show.
Wow.
One single tear, like if someone littered. It was crazy. It was involuntary. And so I met him. I introduced myself in the hallway. And, hey, Adam, thank you for doing the show.
Yeah.
I produced this show. It was weird. It was like I was the only person in the whole building.
Really?
He was like staring right into my eyes. And he's like, oh, really cool, man. Tell me, what's your name? Where are you from? I was, I'm from New Mexico. Oh, my wife loves to ride horses when we're out there shooting. It's beautiful, all these different things. How you can be doing comedy. And the whole time I was like, just don't do the impression.
I was going to ask.
Do the impression.
You got to have a Sandler impression.
Of course,
right?
yeah. Right. That's one of the
Yeah.
first ones we start off with.
Right.
Oh man. Yeah, in impression school.
Right, exactly.
Dude, that's amazing. And then what do you view the state of comedy as right now? Like who's really on and who's getting those opportunities and who's really impressing you and what direction are you taking from there?
It's wild. You can do, it's open-ended.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. There's no rhyme or reason to any of it. Just whatever it is that you do that.
Yeah.
So like I'm looking at somebody like Adam Ray right now, whom I love.
Yeah.
But he's great at every version.
He is. He's doing all
His stand-up is
characters,
great with his material. His crowd work is incredible. Just had an all crowd work special. Holds up. It's worth the watch. It's so good. And then he does the character stuff that he's now actually making a name for himself, actually getting famous, the Dr. Phil type of stuff.
Right.
And if you could see the blend of all those, that's something similar to what I would like to do.
Yeah. If you could, yeah, that's interesting.
I really want to get Adam's attention, Adam Ray.
Yeah.
So Adam, if you're listening, I would love to do Cocaine Bear on.
Oh yeah, that's a
on
great
Dr.
character for his Dr. Phil show. Yeah.
Because he's got a whole lot of problems. He's got some issues that need to be unfolded.
I think I ran into Cocaine Bear on one of these Saturday nights where I was
Sounds like
parking
you
my
turned
car.
into Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, exactly. I'm either Yogi Bear or I'm Cocaine
boo-boo.
Bear. Yeah, exactly.
When I bug my car, what happened to my pants?
Oh no, buddy, let me tell you.
Where are my pants? That's where I keep my Coke.
Before we get out of here, what we like to do before we end every episode is, would you like to, and who do you think should be on this podcast featured as one of the funniest people you've never heard of? Who should we have as a guest and why?
First one I got to mention is my boy from the Improv, Chip.
Chip Nicholson.
Chip Nicholson.
Dude, Chip Nicholson's great because he kind of is able to access a similar type of energy. I've seen him do a Joker impression, and I'm like, oh, it's hilarious, but also scary. You know what I mean? Chip's great, and he's at the Improv as well, right? Like a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chip's my boy. Very positive guy. Works so hard. He's so funny.
Yeah.
Chip's the guy.
Why do you think it is that positivity is so rare as in an art form that is based off of getting strangers to laugh?
That's a good question. I don't think it's always rare. I think a lot of comics are unwilling to show that side.
The vulnerability.
The vulnerability. There's like this tough exterior, this sort of facade that they put on.
To be hard, like be tough.
Yeah.
But the vulnerability comes in the authenticity to be able to, actually enjoy yourself and be seen enjoying yourself.
Right, exactly. Because I've had it several times, through the years I've been at the Improv. Yeah. There's a person where I'm like, I'm not really connecting with this person. Also, they're doing material the whole time. Like, hey, I'm not an audience member. Like,
in the green room.
In the green room, or even like just at work, I'm like, can you not perform for me right now? I'm not a practice audience. I don't care.
Some people have that green room material, and I'm like, oh, dude, come on.
You're funny. That's why we're here. I don't care. Who are you?
Yeah.
Let's just have a normal conversation.
And I know, and also what's interesting about you and I saying this is like, you're not cornering somebody to get them to talk to you. And I'm not like cornering anybody to get them to talk to me either. So it's just like, kind of a passing conversation or like, something casual. I couldn't
imagine the level of schizophrenia I could have by doing like the... So let me tell you, what were you doing today? Do you want to talk about it? What are your plans for Christmas? Right in someone's face, like, oh my God, what's wrong with you?
Well, if you do want to see those characters and you do want to see that material, make sure you see Jose on stage. Now, you've heard of him. Go check him out live. and online. Thanks for tuning in. Take it easy. Bye.
We forgot to find out how much you bench.
Funniest People You've Never Heard Of is a production of Toby or Not Toby Productions. Executive producer Todd Fields, producer and host Peter Murphy. Studio space provided by Third Wheel. Theme song written and performed by Justin Fields. Brought to you by Tequila Especial. Don't forget to like and subscribe.